Hi there, nice people. It's always interesting for me to go to an art museum with a class of students, and we go to the various galleries and see the sculpture and so forth, and look at the different kinds of paintings. We all like these beautiful realism pictures and so forth. Then we get to the modern art gallery, and I'll hear things like, yuck, I can do that, and so forth. When they look at various types of painting, that one looked like he just dripped it. That one looked like, oh, he just made his pictures out of squares and so forth. But this particular lesson we're going to talk about today, called Cubism, is a very, very important lesson. Mr. Picasso, Braque were two of the artists who studied African art and noticed a lot of the sculpture and how a lot of the sculpture was done in planes and so forth. And they found that this was a tremendous release from realism, so they can paint more into a painting than what was originally intended. You know, on a flat canvas, you will see 2D. You can see the flat canvas. But they then shade and do different things to make it become 3D. But these artists tried then to make what we call almost a fourth dimension, using something in the picture to represent two different things. Let me show you a painting that is called Cubistic painting. And I'll point it out to you. The picture seems perfectly flat, but as I go along and look at these, you can see that there's a wall in the background, and as the wall comes down into this man's head, it also makes his hair. And I come on down, and I see the darkness. There's a shadow. His neck actually looks like a cube there for the moment, but it shows that there's light here. And as his arm comes down, again, it goes right through and past the girl and is a part of the girl's neck. See, some planes are used for two different things. Then as I keep moving on down, you can see the different planes, what we call geometric planes in our picture. An interesting fact down here is this young boy is standing here, and we know he's got another leg, and as I come down and I see this part, I say that might be his other leg, but it also is the leg of this woman. There are different spots in the picture that just go along and do that. Here is this man's shirt, and it comes down. It looks like it's shirt behind here, but it also is this boy's hair. These are geometric planes that allow us to see many, many more things in our picture. All right, these cubists then went ahead, and here's my cube. Basically, this is what we're doing. We have a kind of a cubistic idea. Well, we'll get to something even more. In your drawing, they tried to do something else that we're going to do today. They tried to show movement. And by doing this, they would take and say, I'm going to break and separate my object down into planes, and I'm going to make many of them and make it move. So when you look at the painting, you can see it travel across your paper. A good example of this, now you watch, I'll use a piece of charcoal and use it on the side. You can use a black crayon if you want to. Sometimes we do it with a piece of cardboard with black paint. But I want to take and do this. Watch me as I work. Here's my horse, and there's another leg there. Here's his tail out here, one leg up here and down. Yes, you see I'm doing it all with straight lines because in a sense cube are basically squares and so forth, but can you feel that I'm getting some roundness to it? Surely. Now it looks like he's running, but if there's more horses here, and I wish to show more, I'll go ahead and work on another horse. Here he is with his leg back here, in here, and sometime this particular tail over here, coming up, looks like the mane on this horse. And let's see, his legs over here with the other one. Notice over here that the front legs of the horse in the back are the same legs that go along with the horse in the front. And as you go along, here's one horse with his head more up in the air. Looks like he's really moving. Now, you may say, hey, are you drawing that correctly, Mr. Mihuta? Just so you get the idea what I'm talking about here in the sense of the structure, there's a lot of movement in my picture. I go along and I get the racetrack. I can take and put, as if this is a racetrack. And those may become part of my picture and so forth. That's what the cubists tried to do. Look at all those planes playing around our picture. And then as soon as I have done that, then I can take another color and say, let's take this horse and get the color in there, here, The other horse has a different type of coloration. I know that as I go along, can you see a kind of a different, using a bit of yellow there? I could run the yellow back into this area. And I repeat my colors in various spots. Here's a leg. Cubistic ground here. And then what happens behind us as we go along? We have stands and so forth. So we can go along and get like this and come along here and get buildings back there or tall pillars. Here's a bit of a roof. Now, I tell you, as you look at the picture, you get the idea then. You can see it's a building, you can see it's horses, but it's not drawn in actual reality. And what has happened then in modern art, there we call it participatory art. When you go to a modern gallery and you start to look at paintings, you start to look at it and say, gee, I think that's this, I think it's that. And all of you kind of have fun with your imagination as you think of the different things that you see. Now, next time you go to a gallery and look at modern art, keep that business in mind, and you'll find that you'll have a lot of fun looking at modern art. Now, let me take I'll do another picture that, you like my horses? All right. Let me start with another picture here. Again, I'm using my charcoal, get this movement business. I'll let you try and figure out what my picture is about as I go along. Uh-huh. Are you getting, trying to figure out what I'm doing? All right, let's see. Yes, I've got a sailboat race here. This lesson I know you will really enjoy because someone can say to you, my golly, what are you doing? They can't criticize you too much. You're using your wild imagination over here to get this, but now you can see these boats traveling along on the water. And there's water. And there's flags. And flags. And numbers, if you want to. Can you get people? Yes, you can get people. Again, I'm doing with straight lines. Does that look like a person to you? Use your imagination. Another boat further back, smaller. Now, let's see, I need something back in here. Yes. Yes, these lines that came across here looked a little while ago as if they were waves, but now they're rocks. Now I go back and I'll start to add my lines that I wish to bring out the colors. Now I look for, as far as the colorations here, that I repeat. I want to get certain repeats in my picture. My lighthouse tower. Sail in here. And I do have some little Kleenex tissues that you can bandage your finger up and spread those colors out. I love this lesson. I really, really love this lesson. And you folks, when you go along and do it, sometimes you say, oh, golly, I don't know whether I can do that, you know, because it's not real in that sense. But this is the fun of it, really, as you go along and think of all the different things you can do with the picture. Here's a yellow sail there. It continues down in here. I'll make this, hull of this boat yellow. And then someplace along the shore, I'll put some yellow like this, maybe some brown on top of it, so it makes the rocks along the shore. Yes, the sails do not all have to be white. That's right. I heard somebody saying over here about the coloration there. Here we go with my, whoops, I wanted that to be red. Mr. Mihuta, grab some red there. So I have that up in my tower like this. And let me just go, I can go back and add some other colorations. Again, keep it cubistic. I'm not making any curve lines. Oh yes, I hear you again. There are some pictures that are called cubistic paintings that use round lines. What I'd like you to do is just go ahead and look at some books, find out about cubes, Cubism art, and so forth, and you will see there's some other pictures. But for today, this has that kind of crackly kind of feeling. Here's a green. There was another boat back in here. Nice bright blue boat. Here's some sections in here. And that's water as I crackle up and down like this. Add some green to it because water sometimes is blue-green. Put some yellow on top of it because sometimes the yellow on top of the blue makes it look as if it's that. All right, some color that might be in the sky. Flags, look at those beautiful flags up there. I hope what this does for you, in a sense, is gives you a chance that when you go to a museum of modern art, that you will look at the paintings in a very different kind of way now and study them, and if you wish, ask some questions of the people in the museum. Why did they do this and why did they do that? Some of this will get into your art. I know it will. Look at how the patterns are dancing all around like this. I like that kind of arrangement. Now I'll just go back and take enough time to maybe do something else. I'll take and do something real quickly. Watch this. You see a man here? He's looking in that direction. Watch how a cubistic person or painter might handle that. See his mouth there? But do you see a person looking this way? Now do you see a person looking straight at you? Can I possibly have two people in one picture? Well, look at some of Mr. Picasso's paintings. You'll find him using people in all kinds of directions. You'll see one person first, then you'll see two or three. You'll see all kinds of different pictures using the cubistic style. I know you will. Let me go back and work a little bit on this. I like my horses, and I tell you what, I hope that you will go to the museum with your teacher and plan really to go to the modern art section, impressionistic and expressionistic area, look at the modern paintings, make comments in it and say, oh, remember when Mr. Mihuta told us this and Mr. Mihuta told us that? I know you're going to have a lot of fun learning about modern art, and that Mr. Picasso and Braque got this idea also from a borrowed planet, or continent, I should say, Africa, where they did this type of work in sculpture. Okay, so long for now.